All right, greetings and welcome to Soulful Conversations with your host, Queen Elisa, and co-host, Queen Melissa Davis. Our guests today, we have King Moshe Ben Yahweh, and also King Jacob Wright. This podcast is where we discuss important issues that affect our daily lives, mind, body, and soul. Whether you're a man or a woman, this podcast is for you. Today's topic is why should men not verbally or physically abuse their wives for her physical appearance after childbirth? Before we go into our podcast today, I'm going to go ahead and have our guests and co-hosts give us a little background on who they are, and so I'm going to ask our co-host, Queen Melissa, can you give us a little background on yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, Queen Elisa. I'm happy to be here. Again, like you said, my name is Melissa Davis. I am an author. I've written a book called It's My Time, Mindfully Manifesting. You can find it on Amazon. A little bit about me. I am big on our culture. And when I say our culture, not just Black culture, just human culture, just being the best version of yourself, manifesting greatness, pouring love into the universe, both, from a female perspective so that she could be able to translate it from herself to her children, to her spouse. So I'm big on that. I reside in Dallas, Texas. I'm a mom. You're just a person that's just happy to be here, full of life, love Yahweh. So I'm excited to be on this show and excited to share.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. And, you're giving back. So thank you for that. So now we're going to call on King Moshe Ben Yahweh. King Moshe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, Queen. It's a pleasure to be here as well. I'm King Moshe Ben Yahweh, currently living in Jamaica, born and raised in Jamaica, a father and also an entrepreneur, businessman. You understand? Yes. I am here to, communicate with you all, you understand me, and to share my honest opinions and view about this topic. All right?
Yes.
So basically that's it so far.
All right. Well, King Moshe, thank you. We are looking for honesty. We are looking to get deep into this topic today because it's affecting a lot of women, a lot of families, men also. So now I'm going to ask King Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I believe King Jacob got disconnected. I'm thinking that he's going to join back. So he should be back on. And so just bear with him.
Okay. So we're going to continue. Hopefully he'll be able to join us, soon. So just to continue on this topic that we are going to address today, unfortunately, some brothers, some men, use the opportunity of, a woman having a baby, just having given birth to a child. They take this opportunity to verbally or physically abuse their queens by criticizing her physical appearance, and, we already know that's wrong. So in this episode, we'll discuss why this behavior is unacceptable and very destructive to your woman. She's a new mother and her mental health is at stake. So this is destructive to her as a new mother and her mental health. We will also provide tips on how men can support their queens during this time and help, not harm them, feel loved and appreciated. So let us get into this topic today. Childbirth is a beautiful and miraculous event. So that brings, that is bringing new life into this world. However, It can also be a challenging time for women as they go through physical and emotional changes. A man he should already be in a headspace that physical changes to his wife's body after childbirth are natural and normal. Now, panel, what do you say about that? Is there a reason for a man, for a brother, for a king to abuse his wife, and what would cause such a, now we're going to address both forms of abuse, verbal and physical, but we're going to focus on verbal abuse today. Now, what would give a man a reason to verbally abuse his spouse?
I don't think that there's a reason at all where a man should, and of course, just coming from a female perspective, a human perspective, I don't think that there should be any reason why anyone should want to verbally or physically abuse anyone.
Let me ask you a question. What is the definition of verbal abuse?
Okay.
I mean, and that's
Good question. Good question, Jacob.
Okay, so
yeah,
okay,
just
go ahead, Queen.
I was going to say, whether we define it or not, I just really think that the word abuse should not be something that's justified. But yes, go ahead. Let's get into the definition.
Okay.
No. Hold on.
Okay.
Because when you accuse somebody of doing something to you, right? So if you think that your husband is verbally abusing you, there gotta be levels to it because it's a conversation.
Queen Melissa, can you go on mute for a minute, because I think the noise is the squeak is coming from somebody's phone, but we're gonna get it set up where we don't have to worry about that. But for this podcast today, we are having that interference. So if while Jacob is answering the question or giving us his, opinion or thoughts, we'll just go on mute so he can get his time on, what he has to say. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, because it's a conversation that's being had between two people. When do you feel that it's because a husband, you're supposed to be a team, and with a team, you can reprimand each other if you don't feel like you're doing something in the benefit of the team. When do you feel like it crosses the line of being reprimanded or disciplined, even though you guys are spouses and it's not a child and a parent? When do you feel like it takes it overboard and they call it abuse? What is your definition of abuse?
Okay, well, we got that undercover too. We got that on that definition. You see, like everything else, physical abuse is easy to spot. So when someone hits you and deliberately cause you injury, pain, or harm, you know that's a physical abuse happening. But verbal abuse is more subtle than physical abuse. Verbal abuse can be disguised as a joke, You call somebody fat and ugly. Girl, I'm just teasing you. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. Or criticizing you, manipulating you, mocking you, being sarcastic, inappropriate silence. You want to talk to your husband, but he's not in the mood. And now remember to put this.
Wait. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. With that point, you would count being silent as abuse?
Yes, because you know what we're talking about? We're talking about a woman. Now, this is just not a general topic. We are actually talking about after childbirth. We're talking about a woman emotional and mental position.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to interject real quick and just say this. So I definitely understand and I hear what the kings are saying. I just want to clarify this really quick. Based on the definition of abuse, I just want to clarify that once we have an understanding of the word abuse, both verbally and physically, it's not supposed to be tolerated. Now, getting into it, when we define it, then, we can say, okay, what is your understanding of what abuse is? And we can go in it from that perspective. Obviously, we have a conversation on a particular form of abuse based on a particular subject. But just to clarify, and I don't think that just anyone who else is going to be listening, I just want to let it be clarified that the kings on here are not condoning abuse in the actual literal form. They're just trying to understand what actually is considered abuse based on your circumstance and your situation. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Right. So that's good to have that cleared up. Now, to continue on what the face of verbal abuse look like, it's manipulation, it's mocking, it's teasing, it's sarcastically, it's when you ask a question, you don't get an answer. Now, please keep this in context. We are talking about a woman who just had a baby. Her body has just gone through the process of bringing a whole new human into this world. She have had weight gain, stretch marks, sagging breasts, loose skin, and brothers, you think she don't see these changes in her? For you to point them out to her, it's the obvious, what is that doing to her mentally? That, because you're not physically pounding on her and causing injury and harm, you're still in that realm of abuse when you take her down that path. So you can go ahead, brothers. You can continue. This is your platform also.
Well, the brother's not saying nothing yet. I'll say this. As a woman, as a former wife, yes, I'm a former wife, so maybe some brothers might be like, well, she can't speak because she ain't even got a husband no more. But I will say this. Being in that situation, having been married, having 3 children, I was blessed in a sense where my husband didn't talk negatively to me after having
hold on, Melissa, not cutting you.
Okay, go ahead.
Are those children your biological children?
Yes, all 3 of them. All 3 of them are my biological children.
Okay, proceed.
Yes. All 3 are my biological children. All 3 are my husband's biological children as well. Well, my ex-husband last night. I'm going to go ahead and clarify that. My ex-husband, biological children as well. And, when we had our first child, second child, third child, I actually, did pick up weight, but I was slim, right? So he actually loved the weight that I gained after having children. So for me, I was really hard on myself because, when you are a woman and you give birth, first of all, it's so many different changes that it's not actually even been spoken about before. When I was coming up and, I would hear my grandmother talk about her childbearing age, she would make it sound like it was this most beautiful experience that when you have your baby, it's just like you're floating on air. And when I was pregnant the first time, I was like, what in the world? Like, I'm sick every day. I actually had fibroids. I was like, my husband, I didn't like his smell. I didn't like his touch. It was just so much going on that I was like this whole new person. Before I went from, for me, consider myself, just looking good to being pregnant, uncomfortable. Then after I had the baby, my expectation. I didn't know that you had like this stomach, I didn't understand all this stuff was going to happen.
So I want to say something now. While you're describing that all those changes going on with you, I would like a brother, one of the brothers on the phone, to tell us what is it about that gives a man, a spouse, a husband, any reason after you see your wife have gone through all of that, what causes or what because you may not be that man, but what will give a husband a reason to do that, to talk down on their wife because of her body changes to an event that she has gone through that brought life into the world? What will give him any reason to do that?
I would say he don't know no better. He don't know this is okay. So it depends on the type of person, right? So you have narcissists out here that don't care. You have people that want to put you down because they feel like once you have this baby, or they think that you're too good for them and they have to bring you down to a certain level. Or you have other men, because you got to understand, childbearing age is not 40 and 50 when you actually become a man, or 35 or 36 or 30. Is in your 20s most of the time. And when these women have these babies, these men are still immature and we're still boys. Honestly, we haven't experienced it. So, when you're with somebody and they're not pregnant, of course you have times that you argue, you have times that you talk trash to each other, but it's kind of just childish banter. If you with somebody, you gonna say some things like, "Oh, you getting big," or "You need to lose a little weight." But at the same time, you guys go back and forth, and I think that women, when they're pregnant, their emotions are like on 110. So you guys take the things that people say a little bit more serious because you guys are so insecure about your body because your hormones, everything is going everywhere. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but because I'm not a woman, I don't know. But I think that a lot of time when men do that, it's because of inexperience.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I feel like,
Yeah,
of course, for me, when I had my kids, I was lucky. I was on the other end of it where it was like keep the weight. I like that, and it was a personal thing for me to want to get back in shape. But I definitely agree with you that it is a maturity level type thing. I was like in my late 20s when I, was having children, and so when my spouse, he would say keep the weight, or it was just definitely nothing negative. For me it was understanding that in most cases it suggested 6 weeks, that you are, try to get yourself back to being able to perform any activities that was prior to having child. So, allowing that time and understanding that it's going to take time for your body to heal. But for me, I would say that having a partner that understands the process of edifying your person, not just on an intelligent, emotional like level, but from the uplifting and saying, okay, let's do this together. There's ways to telling your spouse, hey, you need to lose weight. Cause I mean, just venture off a little bit, it could be in a sense like, let's say you have a spouse as a female and your husband has gotten heavy and he's not giving what he was giving before. He's not looking good. Like he has a stomach or he's looking, whatever. Now, in some cases, that's considered unhealthy. So it's knowing how to uplift each other positively, using the correct tone, using the correct words to say, okay, I am not looking and judging you based only on your physical, but I do know from a health stance, I want us to get healthy. I want us to be fit. So just knowing how to have that conversation
But we
instead
are
of saying,
talking about a woman who just had a baby.
but I'm
She
saying
is
it's the
not
same
Okay,
pregnant.
thing.
I
But
wanna
I'm
give
saying
you
it's the
guys
same
another
thing to
reason.
know how to approach it.
Now,
Hold on,
first,
I want to give one more reason.
before we go on, Jacob, let me hear from King Moshe. What is your thoughts on this?
yeah, Queen. I personally don't, I don't abuse a woman or have any problem with a woman after their changes after childbirth. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me? Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I when I'm dating someone,
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with them for their spirit and not for the body. You understand me? So most men, I think that the reason why they have those type of issues because of they are body lovers. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But I am completely different. But I am not going to justify or act as if you know I am not guilty of verbal abuse, not physical. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's never for, for any changes after childbirth or any of my woman features changing up or stuff. You understand me? It's for other reasons. You understand me? And I don't know if I can be blunt on here, Queen Elise.
No, I need you to be blunt. This is a real show. This is a
Yeah,
real
because
show.
I'm very straightforward, Queen Elise. You understand me?
Right.
Women tend to be very stubborn. Women tend to be very stubborn, and
And
I'm
explain
telling
that.
you, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Explain what you mean by
and
women tend
emotional.
to be. So you are saying that her emotions are
Get the best of her.
just so the stubbornness is coming from her emotions. I'm trying to understand the scope of what you're saying. So you're saying it's not a stubborn, I don't want to do what you say, or I
Not
don't want
easy
to
to
do
like
this.
control.
It's
Right.
what is the
No, no, no,
stubbornness? So
no. It has nothing to do with being a dictator or forcing. You
okay,
understand me?
okay.
Yes. Women are very emotional beings. You understand me? And when they're in love with someone, they're really in love, Queen Elisa. And that means basically they will even let their feeling get the best of them, even when we speak to them and let them know the truth. I'm the type of guy, Queen Elisa. If I have a problem, you understand me, I'm gonna speak it. I'm gonna make it known. You
Mm,
understand me? And most female that I've encountered with, even if I speak the truth, you understand me, they try many ways. You understand me, all to change my mind and stuff. And I was born and raised in a family, a very abusive family, Queen Elise. I'm right now living in a community where, abusing female is a norm. You
mm,
understand me, Queen Elisa? So, Queen Elisa, I am not perfect. I try my best to. Try my best to be. You understand me, Queen Elisa? And I'm trying to let you know now, Queen. Most, the females that I've encountered with, Queen Elisa,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
They know the community that I live in. They know the impact that the community can have on individual. You
Okay.
understand me, Queen? And I try my best not to be a product of my environment. You
Okay.
understand me? Most of the times, Queen Elisa, I have to be talking to even my wife. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me? More than once time when we're not agreeing on a topic or agreeing on a subject, and she still would rigidly, you understand me, not you understand me, try to understand me, try to you understand me, move out of my way, even when I try to initiate peace and stuff. You understand me, Queen Elisa? She would try to even physically attack me and stuff, Queen Elisa. So
Mm.
my way out to counter that, Queen Elisa, because sometimes people will tend to take advantage of you when you're kind and when you're quiet, Queen Elisa.
Now let me ask
Because I don't
you.
believe yes.
Let me ask you a question. Um, is she doing this? Is this a normal occurrence, or is this being done at the time of
Normal, very
pregnancy?
normal, Queen
Is
Elisa, very normal.
Now, is she doing this at the time of pregnancy? Or is this like,
Both when she's pregnant and when she's not.
okay, so she's a
Yeah,
hitter.
yeah,
She's the
yeah, yeah.
physical
Yes,
abuse.
Queen. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen.
Okay, okay,
I'm
not
the type
funny,
of guy
but
that want peace. I will try to tell her that, hey baby, all right, we don't have agreement, and the argument is getting heated. I would like you to be over there and I be over here, and she doesn't want any of that, Queen Elisa. And remember, Queen Elisa, remember as I told you, even though a man doesn't have to be a product of his environment, because once you know right from wrong, you can just stick on the good side. You understand me? But it's kind of tempting, Queen Elisa. You understand me? For a
okay,
man like me, you
okay.
understand me? So Queen Elisa, the best thing I can use, the best weapon I can use, it's not the best. I'm not justifying it or anything, Queen Elisa. Is to if project my voice, because it's projecting your voice and shouting is verbally
Yes,
abuse, right?
it's verbal abuse. Yes,
Yes,
that
I'm
is
guilty
true.
of that, Queen Elisa. So that's one of my weapons that I use to get my female to
Okay,
understand
now
that, hey, I'm serious.
we're
I'm
on,
serious.
okay, so
Uh, uh,
on this show,
Okay,
we're
I
not,
gotta interject one thing.
yes,
There's
go
one.
ahead.
Okay, so if so here's the I would say the view of two different sexes. When a man is trying to get away from the abuse, and then they interject their voice because they don't want to physically abuse, or
Hmm.
or the accuser of the abuse is attacking the man.
Hmm.
How is what do you guys suggest that a man do?
Good question, Jacob.
Yeah, I like that
Brother.
question.
Oh,
I
okay.
like that question.
Okay,
And I
well,
feel,
I'm going to
yeah.
point you to this. I'm going to point you to
Okay.
this.
But I mean, just let me
Go
just say
ahead.
I
this.
just
Go
need
ahead.
somebody to answer that question
Yeah, I'm
before
going. That's
you
what I was
point
gonna
me
say
to anything.
before Iman goes to pointing. I will say this, right? From a female perspective, and just the environment that I was raised in, I was taught by my grandmother, by my Ima, by my aunts. You do not. If a man is walking away from an argument, you do not chase that man to argue, right? You do not continue an argument. You walk away from that, because then that gets into a sticky situation where if my person is like, listen, yelling and screaming, and it's like, okay, let me go, I'm gonna have the respect to let go, because that's when altercations can occur, and I can't fight. I can't fight a man, so I'm going to let it go. But I do know that in some cases, women do, proceed, and they will continue arguing and egging on, and that. But I don't think that that's necessarily. And my thoughts was, from the conversation, or the header of what it is, to me, it was more so when a woman, just being body shaming the woman. So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong
But
with
I
the
mean,
context.
we are getting into deeper levels of this conversation, because it's all a part of the, this
Yeah, it's all
whole
relevant. It's all relevant.
relevant to it. So it does, it's just a part of the conversation. So it's
Well, to me,
But
naturally,
I wanna hear
there's no
I wanna
justification.
hear what Queen
no.
Alicia has to say regarding to that
Okay.
question.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Let me.
So the thing is that, drawing from our foundation, which is a Hebrew
Now
Israelite
one now
teaching.
one
Wait.
now one thing I will say this. Okay.
Mhm.
I wanna hear your opinion
I will give it
regarding
to you.
hold on. Regarding having a son
Hmm.
and a daughter in that same predicament.
Ooh. He got
That's
you.
deep. That's really deep. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, what I was saying before is that, drawing from the foundation that I have, which is a Hebrew Israelite foundation of spirituality, a teaching of Yahweh from Yahweh ben Yahweh. Now, we go to the scriptures, and scriptures give you the instructs us how to, to perform our daily lives. So Colossians 3:9 says, husband, love your wife and do not be bitter. Bitter means harsh or irritated against her. It also says that the husband is the head of the house, but you have to lead in righteousness. So if there's an imbalance, just like in the body, when the body is out of balance, like I was saying earlier, it's not in this conversation, but a prior conversation. If the body is out of balance, it is called homeostasis. When the household is out of balance, it's just dysfunctional. So the husband, who is the head of the household, have to understand and know how to bring that balance back into the household. If you're not able to do that, well, there's something off. It's something malfunctioning. There's a disease, just like the body there's a situation going on in the household that you have to go and find the the remedy for, how to fix it. In that verse, it says, the verse is instructing the husband to show love and kindness towards his woman, his queen, and avoid being harsh or unkind to her. Now, there's another scripture, Ephesians 5:25. It says, this verse instructs the husband to love your wife in the same way that Yahweh, Christ, Yahweh ben Yahweh, loved the church. So Yahweh ben Yahweh came as selfless and sacrificial. He gave his life for us. He gave himself for us. And he called us the church. It's a part of him. So this is the same call that he's making to the husband. Love your wife, love your family, love them like you love your own body. Recognize that she's a part of you. So you won't want to hurt your arm. You're going to have to find if your arm is hurting, or your arm ain't doing what it is, you're going to find something to fix it. So just like in the household, if your woman, if your wife, if your family is out of order, dysfunctional, find a way to bring harmony back into that household. So that's what I'm saying. Now, to the point that Jacob asked, as a daughter, I will tell my daughter, it's a now that was a tough question, actually. That was a tough something to reflect, because you want to automatically say, yo, get out of there. Leave that man alone. I come over there. I don't want to know what she did, but I'm coming over there to, fix the problem. What's going on? But that's not the way to do it. You have to be a balance. In either way, you take, excuse me, you have to take the moral approach and say, how do you make this work? Our foundation to making it work is the Torah. It is the Bible. It is the Word of God. So that's how I can put it, Jacob.
And I was gonna say, just listening to what you were saying as far as like the Bible and just as far as what you were saying about the Bible and just the principles. I think that before we're in a marriage or a situation, or while we're in the marriage and the situation, it's a matter of understanding your way of communication, right? Because understanding that when you have a wife, your wife, her idea is she's looking at you as you're the head of the household. As a man, to me, the perfect ideal man is the man who understands how, like Eva was saying, to lead. A part of being a leader, a good leader, is your leadership skills should be understanding that of your team, right? Your wife, your children, understanding the way to communicate with them. As a leader from the Bible's perspective, if you're the head of the household, then there's a certain order in which you conduct your home. So if you're talking to your wife, you have to know the proper way to speak to your wife. In that old saying, you get more with honey than you get with whatever, I don't know, because I will mess up an idiom in a minute, but you get more with honey. So when you approach, you speak gentle, you speak kind. When you start to see where it's starting to get out of control and it's getting elevated, and if you, the man, is saying that when you see that it's starting to get out of control, you walk, huh?
Can
When
I
you see
can I
that,
say can I say something?
yes.
All right, I'm gonna say the only way to fix that issue between a husband and a wife is, like the brother said earlier, when you're raised in a household and you're not taught the right thing, because he said he came from a background where there was abuse. When you gotta teach your kids, you gotta teach your daughter how to be a wife, and you gotta teach your son how to be a husband to somebody else.
Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely. Now
But
that
it starts from when they're young. A lot of other cultures do that. So, like, if you look at different cultures, because the black community, it was destroyed. You know what I mean? We were taught, in order to get food stamps, you got to put somebody on child support. It can't be no man in the house. Single mothers raising sons, the sons turning into punks, and they kill each other because our community was destroyed. The only way for us to be able to rebuild or have anything with our community is to teach our children how to be good husbands and good wives. And not every time it's just, oh, he ignored me, I gotta go find another nigga. Oh, she got a little big, I'm finna go find
Yeah,
another
but that's
woman.
all true. But how do you, okay, so let's
Well,
say that that's true and that's fact. But then we have to have these conversations that we're having now because there are married couples, there are situations that they are in a marriage right now and they need to know how to fix it. So it definitely is
But
conversation.
but the problem is when you talk to your child, when your child is young, you always telling them, "Oh, don't take nothing from no man."
Well,
Or
yeah, definitely.
you telling your son, "Oh, don't take nothing from no woman."
Yeah,
The
and then
automatic
definitely start.
response
Yeah.
is in a family, it is okay. I don't have to take this. I just got to go find somebody else.
Yeah, no,
And
you're
they keep
absolutely
jumping
right.
from person to person to person, and they have broken homes.
No, you're
okay.
absolutely right. But my thing is for the right now, for the woman and the man that's in a relationship at this moment, right? Who does have children, who is raising their children. I guess one of the things is if that's what you're teaching your children, then that's what you're showing your children at
Let
the
me
same
ask you a question, okay? And I'm gonna be and we got to be upfront and blunt.
Oh,
What were
okay,
you raised to do?
panel, I'm just going to say we have 10 more minutes to
time.
wrap this up. I know this is a long, deep conversation. So,
But we might have to do a part one and part two.
Yeah, we might have to do part one and part two.
yes, we're
Cause
going to have to do that because just to say before you complete that thought, Jacob, as you just said, and King Moshe said it prior to you saying it, we are products of our environment. So, when you have that habit, a product of your environment, that means you have developed a habit. You have seen it. It's a program now. It have been repeated over and over for however many years that you are alive. This is something that you grew up with, and it's not automatic in your subconscious mind. So it has become your personality. So it's how do we go about changing the personality in our community, to a more righteous and upright personality and character? So go ahead, Jacob, finish your thought.
oh, what I was asking Queen Melissa or Melissa or whatever you want to call it, I was
Get my
asking
name right.
her. I was asking her, how were you raised to treat your future husbands?
Well, I mean,
Who
You have to be
husband?
did you have to
100%.
say
You
husband for
have to be
that? You are
100%
so
honest.
shady.
There
You're
like that. Did
shady.
he?
You
Like the
gotta be
shade is
100%
like
honest.
real.
He went all the way out there
Did you
like
say
that.
with an S?
Ooh, he threw you
With
under the
no
bus.
Y?
He threw you
Yeah, like I
under
felt
the
like there was
bus.
some shade. But now he ain't throwing me under the bus. He's shady. But that's okay because I'm sitting in the cool shade and I got it. I'm covered. But let me just say this. If we're going to be 100% honest, right?
Because hold on. Because I can tell you who was my role model
Okay,
growing
but
up.
let me tell you, let
And
me
you know
finish.
very well who it was.
Let me finish because I had two examples, right? I had my grandmother and I had my Ima, right? And there were two messages that was sent from both of them. Now, my grandmother, she was definitely not the woman that any man wanted to mess with, but however, she was a wife, right? She had a husband, she had the household, she was a good woman. She was a very strong woman, but then I also had those influences of, I had my other auntie who was a wife and very submissive to her husband. But that wasn't the best example for me from a husband's perspective because he was verbally abusive and he was a narcissist and he definitely did try to control her. And so for me, that's their business. That's, however, but I never wanted to be that woman because he was abusive. I loved my grandmother's example because she was very strong. I wouldn't say that she was abusive, but she didn't take any mess from her husband. However, there was Ima's perspective where it was like, sis, we ain't gonna take no stuff from no man. We gonna leave. Like, I always like to say Ima was the first member of the She Man Woman Haters Club. that from the Little Rascals.
Okay, Moshe,
It was like,
don't pay her no mind.
She was like, listen, we ain't about to take no stuff from no man. You're going to leave. But I mean, I think Ema has definitely come a long way, because now she's very much into like tapping into femininity, understanding relationships of, how a woman is to her husband. But back in the day, Ema was definitely giving us that you don't take stuff, you walk away, and you're stupid if you taking some stuff from me. So, I mean, honestly, I had examples. I definitely had different examples. But my grandmother, honestly, was, she was a wife. She was a virtuous woman. She was a woman who created her own business. Her husband, actually, under all of their toxicity, because they did have it, they were a good example where they actually.
And I would say this, and I would say this.
Jacob,
Okay.
we're gonna have to do part 2, because we have to wrap
Okay.
this section up. So if everybody's on the phone, who's on the call now, if you can wait for the invite for me to do part 2, is everybody able to do that?
I'm able.
Correct. Of course.
Okay.
Praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh.
Absolutely. Always praise Yahweh, Ben Yahweh. So just to wrap it up, family audience, we went a lot of different places with this, but basically we, on this podcast, this episode, we actually, our intention was to stay on topic with, why men should not verbally or physically abuse their wives after childbirth for her physical appearance. And then we touched on several things. Now we also said, that we were going to give some tips on how the husbands, how they can support their wives after childbirth. So one is that be patient with her, brothers. Be patient. Understand that she may be feeling emotional, tired or overwhelmed. She just had a baby, and she just had a whole human being, extracted from her body. So be patient with her. Be patient with her. Take care of the baby in the morning or at night so that she can get some extra sleep, extra rest, Be supportive and encourage her and help her with any challenges. She's now breastfeeding. So, make sure that you answer her questions. Ask her, is she okay? Assist her with the whole breastfeeding part of it. If she want to get some water, some juice, some fruits, etc. Be there for her. Give her a hug. Tell her that you are proud of her, and and you are happy to be her husband, and that you love her. Help her with the household chores. Cook for her, clean, laundry, take care of the children that you already have. Go grocery shopping. Let her know that you are there for her to talk to if she have any needs. Encourage her to seek support, because, at this time, women are going through some emotional issues, and she may have anxiety, depression. You may not know it, but encourage her to open up, because those hormones are all out of whack. So these are just some of the ways to support your wife after childbirth. And in closing, just want to say thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you found it informative and helpful. And sisters, it's important to be patient with yourself. Healing after childbirth may take some time. Don't make negative comments about your physical appearance if someone else is. Don't join in with that. As a new mother, if you are experiencing postpartum depression or anxiety, it is important to seek help immediately. Thank you for joining us on. Yes.
I did, because based on the subject before, I did have a closing that I want, a point that I wanted to, to share. A tip, I'm sorry. The one thing that I wanted to say for the brothers and the sisters in relationship to the subject was the best word I can use is having empathy for each other, especially as, a husband, just putting yourself in your wife's shoes. Like Ima said, all those tips that she provided, understanding like how you would want to feel or how you would want to be someone to speak to you, because at the end of the day, we are humans, whether it's male or female. Just put yourself in that person's shoes, show empathy, show love, because that is the thing that will help resolve the issue when it comes to, especially, the childbirth situation, just being empathetic to each other.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our closing. And we again thank Yahweh, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, for allowing us